me are gonna get wet. If I don't leave now, well, I know my mind is gonna burst. And out of the wall is the only place to quench my thirst. If I stay right here, I'm gonna go berserk, 'cause a bad day on the water is better than a good day at work.
G'day and welcome to On the Water for another red hot and shiny week. We got a cracker of a show lined up as always. We're going to go V8 superboat racing out at Temora. Then we're going to go and check out tobogganing in Antarctica. We're going to go for a polar plunge, and then we're going to go dog sledding in Argentina. So strap on your life jacket and get set to get wet. G'day and welcome to Temora. Country, New South Wales. Population, 7,000. It's not big on numbers, but it is big on community spirit. Don Bradman was born here. Jimmy Sharman from Jimmy Sharman's Boxers fame, born here. Paleface Adios, the champion pacer, born here. And we ramped it up with horsepower of a different kind though, as we came to see round 2 of the Australian Continental Tires Superboat Series. The superstars of this sport rolled into town to compete here at the Lake Centenary course. The tight and twisting Temora track is going to have its fair share of casualties. There is no doubt about that. The track is tight. It is very tight, and this track is going to sort the men from the boys. So strap on your life jacket and get set to get wet. 3 types of class in V8 superboats. We're having a look at the 350 cubic inches. It's going to put out a maximum of 450 horsepower. It runs on unleaded, and it is the feeder class to this extreme sport. The next class in the V8 superboats is the 400, up to 412 cubic inch. It runs on avgas and can get up to 650 horsepower. The biggest boats amongst the V8 superboat classes is the unrestricted class. Any boat, any size, any type and any configuration with the biggest engine you can put in it, provided it's propelled by a water jet unit and it carries the driver and the navigator and complies with all the safety regulations. V8 superboat racing is like rally driving on water. The boats can accelerate from 0 to 160 kilometres an hour in under 2 seconds, while completing 180 degree turns that pull 5 to 6 Gs, or similar to the forces found in an F-111 fighter jet. Check this boat out. 12 foot long, 550 kilos, and powered with 620 horses. These alloy hulls are way better than fiberglass, lighter, stronger, and when you bend them, knock the dings out and you can race next week. Chrome Ollie roll cages, super strong, super light, and they're proven that if you end up upside down, you don't get squashed. V8 superboats and a lot of high performance speedboats all have the steering wheel on the left hand side. You might think, is it European, is it American? No, the answer is a lot more simple than that. It's so that you can put the accelerator deep into the V of the hull. That way it gives your foot a lot more space to be able to put the pedal to the metal.
Situated halfway between Melbourne and Sydney is the newest jet sprint track on the circuit at Temora. Around about 3 kilometres from the town centre, it's situated right on the edge of Lake Centenary. Temora being a very tight and twisty track, it was the 350s that were first to take up the challenge. An interesting situation greeted our competitors with a lot of weed being blown into the course overnight. This created a lot of DNFs, but Tremaine Dukes, pushing very hard early in the piece, had a big spin. Tremaine recovered well to put his boat into the top 10 later in the day, as did young Jake Garlick, 16 years old in only his second jet sprint event. Brent Maher and Glenn Arundel shared the beautifully prepared twisted machine and managed to put it into the top 10. Unfortunately for the guys, not progressing any further than that this weekend. Sheldon Clark in his pandemonium machine had a fantastic weekend, shaving nearly 10 seconds off his times from the start of the weekend till the end. The Red Raw machine with Daryl Squires at the wheel had a fantastic weekend. They're always competitive runners, and this time putting the boat into the top 6. Moving into the pointy end of the field now, and Glenn Roberts in his Liquid Rush machine had a fantastic weekend, just falling shy of the top 3. Our Toy machine, both with Brooke Lucas and Kim Lucas, putting the boat into the final twice. Fantastic effort from this group. The other boat running in the final of the 350s was the ever-reliable Mark Garlick in the Grumpy machine. The Group A category, the biggest class in V8 Superboat racing, sees some of the closest and toughest competition. Gerard Elphingston in the Chili Man had a treacherous weekend with problems with weed, a spin out, and in the end running out of fuel. It was not his weekend. He didn't make the cut. Ted Sigidus in the Triple X racing machine was having a good weekend and put the boat into the top 10, but unfortunately did not post a time, and we didn't see Ted progress any further for the weekend. More luck for the Triple X racing machine with Fonzie Mullen at the wheel. He had a fantastic weekend, putting the boat into the top 3, as did Rowan Doan Smith in the Doan racing machine, and also Slade Stanley, the perennial front runner in the Hazardous machine. Brooke Dixon in the True Blue 2 machine and Greg Mercier in the As You Do machine were both disappointed after having fantastic runs. Brooke only missing out on the cut by under a second, and Greg by only just over a second. Other boats getting into the top 10 but not progressing any further than that in this particular weekend. Silver Bullet with Kevin Loganson, Rob Coleman in the Ton of Guts machine. Also in the Ton of Guts machine was Tim Howell and Stephen Lackas in the Scream racing machine. And so it was on to the Superboat Unlimited category, the big bangers, the methanol-sucking madness of the V8 Superboat series. Failing to make the cut on this occasion, unfortunately, was Paul Burgess in the Canberra Floorcraft racing machine. Mick Carroll, another competitor, not making it in this time about in the Excalibur machine, and also Andrew Page in the beautiful Kamikaze machine. No luck this weekend. Louise Dixon in the True Blue machine showed plenty of consistency throughout the weekend, picking up points in every round, but unfortunately not making the cut for the finals. Pete Freckleton in Jim Bailey's Bag 'em Up machine, probably the unluckiest guy for the weekend, putting in very fast times all weekend and missing the cut by only 0.2 of a second. And so the finals came down to our 3 competitors. Bag 'em Up with Jim Bailey behind the wheel, Phil Dixon with his True Blue machine, and the fastest qualifier, Tony Gustosi in the Excalibur machine. With the finalists decided in the 350s, the Group A's and the Superboat categories, these guys have now only got one shot at trying to get the silverware on the shelf.
Well, after a flat-out first part of the show, it's time to go and make yourself a cuppa. Stick around, because after the break, we're going Antarctica.